John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema Classics on that.
Cinema Classics is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. And listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm G Kline.
and this is Cinema Classics. Now, I've seen boxing movies, I've seen wrestling movies, okay? So I got it up to here. And then I've seen The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I've seen him, in 100 movies.
We've seen him talking to polar bears. We've seen him as Black Adam. We've seen him as a special effect for the last 20 years.
But a guy who can even sell his voice.
A guy who has sold his voice, Moana. Yes,
Yeah.
hard to
All right,
forget.
so we have a new movie called The Smashing Machine. And this stars Dwayne Johnson with Emily Blunt, as I've never seen her before. Wow, not a quiet place, this lady. She is
Look, John, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is the greatest wrestling movie ever made. I don't think you're going to find a better wrestling movie. And the reason I say this is because the actors are real wrestlers. Of course, Dwayne Johnson came out of professional wrestling, out of a family of wrestlers.
All right.
And-
I knew you. I can't get you started.
Yeah.
Well, hold on
Okay.
for later on, because you're absolutely right, and I love what you have to say. So let's just look at this movie. Who is this guy, Safdie, or what?
The director?
Yeah,
Well, he's not a new director. He's been around for a while, and he does.
Benny.
Yeah, he does very edgy stuff. He's a younger director, and he'll probably be have a good career still ahead of
Best
him.
known with his brother, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Josh.
Josh. Yeah.
And the two of them, the only one I can tell you right off the bat is Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gem, and what a terrific film that
And
was.
it got lost.
Yeah. Well, no, Adam Sandler fans found that movie, and
Well,
Idina
yeah,
Menzel
so did I,
fans
but
found that
nobody at
movie.
these Oscars,
No,
his
no.
performance was so superior.
It drew in when I saw a primarily Jewish audience because of Sandler and the Jewish references that the film had, and a lot of people found it a little too disturbing.
It was.
It was definitely not your
His
traditional
obsession
Adam
with
Sandler film.
NFL and all that. Is
Yeah.
great.
Oh no, and Safdie's like making these very dark movies about people going to very dark places.
And going to extremes.
Yeah, but they want to be realistic. They want to portray them realistically in a very dark place.
All right, so what makes this different for Dwayne Johnson?
Okay, well, this is the best acting we've seen from Dwayne Johnson.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't act until this point.
Well, he's a very good presence in films.
Well,
I mean, we can make a comparison during the back talk about Schwarzenegger. And is Johnson perhaps a slightly better actor than Schwarzenegger? Yes. Does he have the enjoyable quality of Schwarzenegger? No. And that's why he ends up in films like Black Adam.
Well, he has a big smile.
He has a
No,
big
he
smile,
had
he
big
has a
biceps.
big presence,
Yeah.
and when you pair him up alongside a known actor, he's going to be a special effect. He's going to be a big, intimidating character, and his voice is strong. He can hold his own against Ryan Reynolds or Chris Evans or anybody that they pair him up with. It's surprising he hasn't gotten further in the Marvel Universe.
And he has a pretty decent rug on the top of his head.
Well, yeah, which doesn't quite work for me. I mean,
It doesn't.
that's
does when we get to
that's
the end
the
of the
special
film.
effect of the movie that didn't work for me.
He loses it.
He finally
back
loses
to
it
what
at
we
the end,
know.
and we see the Dwayne Johnson we know, and I would have been happier to have seen the Dwayne Johnson all along.
So-
I give him credit for trying to imitate Mark Kerr as
Yeah.
best he can.
So Mark Kerr is the big world champion.
Mark Kerr-
Mixed martial arts.
Mark Kerr, this is in the late 80s when mixed martial arts wrestling, MMA, was bigger in Japan than it was in the United States. It was a brutal version of a sport that allowed no boxing gloves. You could fist punch to the person's face all you wanted. You could kick them in the kidneys. You could do all the things that you were not allowed to do in boxing or wrestling. It was just a no holds barred. And then gradually over time, they began trying to make it a little less violent.
Yeah, I love the one lineup where she begins telling them all the things they can't do anymore.
Yeah,
It was everything
yeah.
that he did.
And it was all the things that he did, and that was because he was winning so much, it wasn't much of a competition. So they started stripping him of his most effective weapons.
Yeah.
But getting back to Johnson in this, Johnson knows Mark Kerr. They've known each other for decades. So Johnson's doing an acting job here, but he's also doing an impersonation. And this is the part that doesn't quite work for me, is this movie can be divided into two separate areas. One is the wrestling scenes, which are magnificent. I don't think you could have had any other actors portray this with the weight and the power that we see on screen. And my God, Dwayne Johnson's legs are bigger around than my whole chest.
Well, one of the things that struck me, and I'm not the first to notice this, of course, is where the camera is placed. And the camera is not inside.
No.
And so we're outside.
We're outside the ring.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an Ali or another Creed,
Yeah.
this movie is not that. This is not the looking close up into the face, into the eyes of the boxer.
Yeah.
This is, the camera's outside the ring. There's a documentary style to this film. It reminds me more, and it's filmed in 16 millimeter and in VHS. Yes, yes. They had no VHS camera.
You know, it's fine, it works for me. It's actually like home movies.
It gives it that documentary feel, and it gives it that gritty feel of the camera just alongside the ring, filming these as if these were the documentary footage of the actual fights. Where it doesn't work for me, though, is when we see him with Emily Blunt, because this melodrama reminds me more of a reality TV show.
Well, I'm thinking, I haven't seen it, but the Roses, where they're arguing, the couple.
Well,
yeah,
it's the Roses, but because it's filmed in 16 millimeter and it has a very flat feel, very poorly lighted feel, it feels more to me like an episode of The Kardashians or the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It doesn't feel to me like an actual dramatic film with an actor who's used to receiving $40 million to be in a movie. And in this case, the movie only cost $50 million, so he must have cut way back. But Wayne is trying to get noticed. He's trying to get that Oscar podium.
Sure.
We all know it.
Yeah.
We all know it.
Oh, yeah.
And does this movie do it for him? I'm going to say no.
All right. Well, it's the same as Trump with the Nobel Prize.
Yes,
They can want it all they want.
Yeah, he can want to be on the front cover and holding that Nobel, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it.
And, you know, I have to give it to Safdie for paralleling the fights in the ring with the fight with Dawn, with his love.
Yes.
You know, even though it seems like a corny bit, it works for me because he actually has a more difficult time with her than he does in the ring.
Well, and it's such a toxic relationship, John. And you wonder why this guy who is so obsessed with preparing for the fight and getting mentally prepared and such a control freak, why he would continue in this relationship with somebody who is throwing off his mojo every time he's around her.
Yeah,
why doesn't he get rid of her? I mean,
love
find somebody that's not going to throw you off.
Revealing both of the points that you were making there is when they're making the smoothie, when she's making the smoothie for him, and she doesn't have the right ingredients.
Well, he's changed the ingredients on her, and she
it.
makes it the old way. And of course, this is an interesting thing about Johnson's portrayal. It's so subdued. It's so he talks almost in a whisper. He's very pleasant. He's very polite. Even when things go wrong, he's polite, but up to a point, and then he snaps, and then doors break.
Oh yeah.
A couple doors break, but and this is where Dwayne Johnson, the actor, I'd say, is doing more of an impersonation than he is actually creating a character. Because he knows this person, he doesn't have to create this person.
And I think supporting your assertion would be the final shots of the actual Mark Kerr.
When at the end, they do us the service.
He's this guy who could be lost in a crowd.
Yeah.
He's pushing his little grocery cart, being a nice guy, and you say, this is the smashing machine?
Yeah, they actually cut to the real guy today. He's a car salesman at a Toyota dealership in Scottsdale, Arizona.
The brother.
Yeah, but when you see the photographs during the credits of the original one of the things I noticed is he's nowhere near as big as Dwayne Johnson bulked up to be for this movie.
Well, Dwayne Johnson's 6'4", and actually Kerr is 6'1".
6'1".
And there's a difference. They photograph it very nicely, so you're not aware of how actually tall Johnson is.
Yeah.
And how much taller he is than the original Mark Kerr.
And how much more powerful.
Oh my gosh.
He has overdone it. I think this is Dwayne Johnson physically boasting to the world, hey, I'm taking my chest off, look at me.
Yeah.
Because he is so much bigger than the real Mark Kerr. When you see Mark Kerr in the real photos, the other Mark, the one that ends up being his best friend,
Right, Coleman.
is actually bigger than he is, but in the movie, Coleman is a pale shadow to the bulk, the Titanic that is Dwayne Johnson.
And I thought that the fellow who played Mark Coleman
was very
a
effective.
former UFC or whatever.
UFC from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, he did his training, the training rooms that you see in there over on Kenny Road.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and that's Ryan Bader.
Yes, and in scenes you'll see OSU logos in the background.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, they do a nice job of dressing the sets to display the fact that this is a OSU guy.
All right, G Kline. You had promised that we would talk about Schwarzenegger as well, and we will.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Schwarzenegger.
And we will do that. But right now, the movie is starring Dwayne Johnson. It really is Dwayne Johnson, but it's called The Smashing Machine.
The Smashing Machine.
And you could agree whether it's a good title or not. But The Smashing Machine, he is. What do you advise our audience?
I go see this movie. This is definitely one of the big films of the fall. Well acted, well written, but don't expect this to be another movie like Rocky or Ali. This is not going to be a big drama. This plays more like a documentary.
And it's underplayed.
And it's very underplayed.
Yeah.
And like a documentary, it doesn't necessarily end on a high note.
No, and this is a film that most people in the family could see.
Yeah.
Because they cut away from, well...
And the drug use.
Yeah, the drug use, which in itself is kind of underplayed.
And I want to point out one final thing about this movie. The fellow who plays his sensei, the fellow who plays his trainer,
Benicio del Toro.
yes, gives a performance that is just amazing. And if you want to see what a really, really top-notch actor is like, watch the scenes when he's having his heart attack or whatever medical condition he has, and compare that to Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson's doing a decent job, but this is real acting, and this guy just owns that scene.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda